This morning, we are taking a closer look at a growing crisis in America: loneliness and social isolation. For many, it's getting harder and harder to make connections, especially for men. That can harm more than their mental health. It impacts their physical health, too. I recently spent some time with one group that's trying to make connecting easier, literally, one step at a time.
I feel like all of the best people I've met in my adult life have been here in New York.
The name of this group strolling through Central Park is quite fitting: Walking, Talking Men.
I'm trying to get better at finding time for myself.
Twice a week, that's exactly what they do, candidly chatting about their lives.
They're getting the kind of connection that they need and that they haven't had in their life.
It used to make me uncomfortable
to be around other men.
Trying to be a friend.
Trying to be a friend.
I wasn't sure how to do it.
Mark Green co-founded the group last year, finding no shortage of interest.
We have huge numbers of social isolation for men, for everyone, but for men specifically.
Show of hands, before this, who here was feeling lonely?
It's not easy to admit, but they're far from alone. One study finds just 27% of men have at least 6 close friends. 15% report having no close friends.
I had thought I had a lot of friends, and I did, but when I really looked at the connections I had with them, I realized that something was missing a little bit.
In 2023, the Surgeon General issued an advisory about loneliness, saying it increased the risk of premature death by 26%, on par with smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
If I have a busy day, I never have a problem with loneliness.
Matt Ritter and Aaron Carroll created a podcast, Man of the Year, to address the issue.
In high school, you learned sex ed, but you never learned friend ed. Especially for men, we need tools.
They tell men, find your third place. Not home, not work, but someplace you can find guys with similar interests. And when you make that connection, plan something.
People are afraid, oh, if I text Jim, Jim's not going to like it. Trust us, he's waiting for you to text him.
Their advice: TCS. Text weekly, call monthly, see each other quarterly. These walking, talking men have learned the benefits of face-to-face meetups.
I get a little bit of exercise for my body and for my brain and my heart, too.
It's only been a few months, but is it fair to call this life-changing?
Yes, it's changed my life. I think the thing that I want to communicate to men is that anyone can do this.
Just walk the walk and talk the talk. And I'm excited to have Mark Green himself in studio with me this morning to talk further about this, because we had such a great conversation about this, and there's so much more I know that we can cover. You've been doing this about 8 or 9 months now. You posted something on Reddit, and what was the response like when you did that?
What was interesting is a number of men emailed me and they said, oh, I already know what this is. I already get this. I understand why I need this.
And in some situations, it was the wives who saw it, who sent it to their husbands or their significant others and said, you should look into this, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because they've already been in conversation about this issue, right? Like you don't have enough friends, you need to develop that part of your life, and men already know it.
We showed some research there, but I want to add some more research there about feelings of loneliness spanning generations. More than half of Gen Z, Millennials, and Gen X experience loneliness. Almost half of baby boomers do. I know you're familiar with some of the research, but talk about what seems to make it harder for men to make connections with each other.
Well, there's a researcher here at NYU named Niobe Way who wrote a book called Deep Secrets. And basically, she discovered that the cultural messages to boys and men are basically that as we get older, we shouldn't need close friendship. We shouldn't be so emotionally expressive. We should be tough and not ask for help. If we're going to talk to other boys and men, we should talk about, cards or sports, nothing deep. And the end result of all of that is that we disengage from our friendships. Her research shows that by late adolescence, boys are letting go of those close friendships, which earlier they said they would go crazy without.
And oftentimes men are told to be competitive, which is at odds with being a good friend, right?
Exactly. You can't do a hyper-competitive version of masculinity and still form the kind of close friendships that we need.
It kind of makes sense, and we talked about this. I sort of experienced this a couple of years ago. You hit middle age, and sort of your friendships from your younger years, you're just not as close with them, whether it's because you're in your relationships or you have kids. And as you get older, it's harder to make new friends. But younger people, we're seeing this too. There was a recent Gallup poll that showed 25% of men ages 15 to 34 said they felt lonely a lot, compared with only 18% of women in the same age group. You're hearing from younger men, right?
We are. And the interesting thing about our walks is that they really break a lot of rules. of what's normal for us. And one of the things that's happening is I'm in conversation on these walks with men who are in their late 20s, their mid 30s, and we don't often get to speak across generations in that way. But for me, what I'm finding out is that men, no matter what their age is, are still finding benefits in being able to share what's going on for them.
You don't talk about politics. That's one important rule. Talk about why that is.
Well, there's enough places to have those conversations. And also, I think politics often can be divisive, intentionally divisive. You know, you get people motivated to engage politically by picking a conflict for them and trying to get them to buy into it. But for men, what we're discovering on our walks is that when we stay more focused on what's going on for us in our lives, in our relationships, we get a huge benefit from that, and politics isn't very conducive to those conversations.
One of the men we spoke to in the piece there, Jonathan Jacobs, he started a chapter in L.A. earlier this year. He's had more than 100 people show up overall.
Yeah.
Real quick, we only have a few seconds here. You're hearing from people all over the country, right?
Absolutely, especially once the story ran on NBC last night. It's sort of a if you build it, they will come moment. And when men hear about this, we're hearing, we've got signups now from Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, all over the country.
I feel like you're going to be hearing from a lot of folks. You're going to be helping them do a lot of good. Mark Green, appreciate you having this candid conversation with us. It's an important one.
Huge pleasure to be here.
All right.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.